But are you ready for change? Are you ready to leave here today with your eyes open and abandon some of the we've always done it this way and take some of the risk and say, I want to get there. I want to move forward. I want to try some things and see if the big guy on the stage was right. I can make more money. You're talking to somebody who has gone through his own personal changes. In 2002, I was a little shy of 500 pounds. I was a walking time bomb. I went in for my annual physical. Doctor looks at me. He says, you look like crap. I said, you went to medical school for that diagnosis? I said, I haven't even gotten undressed. He goes, hey, have we ever done a stress test? I said, I'm stressed right now. He says, we should do a stress test. Well, for those of you that have never done a stress test, where they put you on the treadmill and you start walking, and you're kind of going, well, this is no big deal. And then they start making a little faster, and then it starts going uphill. And there's a woman over there, typically a technician, who's reading this thing, and suddenly there's 2 people reading this thing, and you're looking over, and suddenly there's 4 people reading this thing. And then everybody in the room is reading this thing, shaking their heads. And I'm going as fast as I can, and they're shaking their heads. And we don't like what we see. Really? I didn't like it either. Sit down. They sit me down. They say, Jim, we are going to have to do an angiogram. Really? What's that? No big deal. We're just going to check things out because we don't like what we see. Okay. Come in tomorrow, you're going to be prepped for it. For those of you that have never had an angiogram, that's where they take a rod that starts in the back of that room. They put it in your groin and run it up to your heart. Now, being the A-type personality, I'm going, fellas, there's got to be a shorter way to do this. They come back with the pictures and they say, this one's been scarred over since you've been 2, 3, so it has no blood flow at all. This one is occluded 97, 98%, which means you're getting 2% of the blood flow. And the other one's carrying everything. So, Monday we're going to do a triple bypass. I looked at these guys. I said, I wasn't in the meeting. I was feeling fine till 2 days ago. You go home and think about it. We're going to schedule you for Monday. Saturday night, an elephant sits on my chest. I call 911. Now, I happen to live in a high-rise in Chicago on the 66th floor. The fire department is in my apartment within 2 minutes. Being the A-type personality, how'd you guys get here? Lay down, Mr. Feldman. How did you guys get here? Lay down, Mr. Feldman. I'm not laying down until you guys tell me how you got here. Fine. We were on the 68th floor, got the call, and we walked down 2 flights of stairs. That's when I got religion. I knew that somebody was looking out for me. I go to the hospital. The doctor comes in the morning and says, guess what? You didn't have a heart attack. I go, fine, I'm going home. He goes, not so fast. Nothing has changed. You just didn't have a heart attack. And I said, well, what are my options? You don't have any. Sure we do. Remember, they're the experts, but at the end of the day, it's my decision. I said, I'd like you to clean me up. I understand there's a roto-rooter process. He goes, that's not what we call it. It's an angioplasty, where we just go in and clean things out. I said, I'll take one. You don't have a choice. Yes, we do. Now, here's the point that people are either going to like or not like. I spent the rest of that day in the hospital negotiating with everyone that walked in the room. I want the angioplasty. I want you to agree to do this. The first person who walks in is the scheduling nurse. And I said, hi, how are you? I'm Jim. How you doing? She goes, great. I said, what time should we schedule my procedure tomorrow? She goes, you have no choice. Computer puts in the Social Security numbers. It generates everybody's name and number, and that's how it's done. I said, if I was your husband, brother, lover, best friend, what time would you want me to go in? She goes, you don't have any choice. I said, we all have choices. If I was, she goes, okay, 1 o'clock. I go, why? She goes, because it's Monday. Why? Because the doctors will be coming back from lunch at 1 o'clock, and that leaves the whole afternoon in case something goes wrong. What could go wrong? Oh, honey, you don't want to know about that. I said, so 1 o'clock it is. She goes, yep, that's what it should be. I said, I'll take it. She goes, I'm going to have your hearing checked while you're here because apparently you don't understand. You have no choice. I go, let's start all over. I'm in the motivation business. I'm in the incentive business. What would it take for you to put me in at 1 o'clock? She goes, like what? I said, chocolate, wine, cigars, nylons, scarves. Stop me when I got something you like. She goes, what kind of chocolate? I said, how about Ghirardelli? She goes, how much? I said, 10 pounds? She goes, they don't make a 10-pound bar. I go, yeah, they do for me. I have a contract with Ghirardelli. They make a 10-pound bar of chocolate. Get out of town. I'm planning to get out of town right after I leave here. I want to have the angioplasty. She goes, when do I get the bar of chocolate? I said, as soon as you schedule me. She goes, give me 5 minutes. Disappears, comes back. She says, 1 o'clock it is. One for me. Next nurse comes in. She goes, I don't like chocolate. I said, who are you? She goes, I'm the happy nurse. I said, you don't seem very happy. She goes, I'm the one that's going to give you your medication to make you feel good. I don't like chocolate. I said, what do you like? She goes, what's the list? We started going through it. She goes, cigars? What kind of cigars? I said, I'm in the cardiac ward and I'm getting rid of chocolate and cigars. You guys don't buy into this program, do you? She goes, don't lecture me. What kind of cigars? I said, oh, I got Cubans, I got this. She goes, hold on. She gets on the phone. She's talking to somebody. She says, he wants to talk to you. Yes? Oh, you've been married to her for how long? Yeah, my condolences. Okay, so how are we going to work this out? Yes, I have Cubans. Yes, I have Churchills. Yes, I have Cohibas. Yes, I'll tell her. He wants to talk to you. Really? 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 Okay, she goes, take these pills. I said, what that? She says, he said to start making you happy right now. Before the day was over, I had negotiated with the surgeon, with the anesthesiologist, with the recovery room nurse, everything because I had one singular focus. Now we come to the end of the day. And in comes a gentleman, white gown. It says, Dr. Giorgiotti, Department Head, Cardiology. And he picks up the chart, and this is what you just love about doctors. He's talking like I'm not in the room. Morbidly obese, 56-year-old patient presents himself. I'm going, hello, I'm in the room. I'd prefer not to be called morbidly obese. He goes, well, you are. I go, I'd prefer not to be called that. He goes, listen, you need to change your lifestyle. I said, I got that. I got that. He says, who's your cardiologist? You are. He says, no. I said, you are. He goes, you don't understand. I'm the head of cardiology. I said, that's why I want you, because you're the head of cardiology. Now, I'm telling you these stories because we all have the ability to ask questions and to interact. And I said, as head of cardiology, what does that mean? He said, well, I'm in a teaching hospital, and all of these are my residents, and I go all over the world and lecture on cardiology. I said, oh, when you fly, do you have elite status? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, are you a platinum? Are you a premier? All these things? He goes, no, because I'm not often on the same airline. I said, oh. So then when you get to wherever you're going, you probably don't have elite status with the hotel. He goes, no. I said, well, would that matter? And I said, well, wouldn't you like to check in at the front of the line? Wouldn't you like to be upgraded? He goes, where are you going with this? And I said, well, I wrote a book called Dr. Travel's Cure for the Common Trip. And every one of you have got a copy of that with my compliments. It's a book on travel tips. And I said to him, in writing the book, I've done work with Hyatt and Marriott and United and American, and I can get you elite status. He says, how would you do that? I said, I pick up the phone right after you fill in that page where you say you're my cardiologist. He says, how do I know you're going to do that? I said, you can always erase yours. I'll get yours right now. He writes it down. I pick up the phone. I call David Riddell, Senior Vice President at Marriott Hotel. David, how are you? Great. David, listen, I'm in the hospital, and they want to do a triple bypass, and I'm trying to talk my way out of it. And to do that, I'm going to need you to upgrade the head of cardiology membership in the Marriott Rewards program. No problem, Jim. I said, he'd like to know your number. Fellow gives him his Marriott number. David, on the other, says, I'll have the cards to you within 2 weeks. Please take care of my friend. If anything happens to him, you won't get your upgrade. Every day we are faced with these challenges and opportunities. I want you to walk out of here today thinking that you are in control of your own life and your own destiny. And I want you to craft your vision. The vision for me was very simple. I didn't want to have a triple bypass. But I knew that if I didn't change my life, I was going to have a triple bypass whether I liked it or not. After they did the angioplasty, I was asked to come back 6 months later and take another test, another treadmill. And once again, same story. But there was only one girl the whole time. One technician until they stopped it. Dr. Georgiati shows up. He's looking at I call it the ticker tape. And he says, what are you so happy about? I said, happy? 6 months ago you guys wanted to cut me open. I just passed the test. I changed my life in 6 months. He goes, no, you passed the test. You didn't change your life. What do you mean? Jim, you're still overweight. You have high cholesterol. You have high blood pressure. You're a diabetic. If you don't have a stroke, if you don't have a heart attack, you are a textbook candidate for amputation and or blindness. Now, those alternatives are pretty scary. When you're talking to your customer, you can be that severe. Sure, you can go to the low-cost bidder, but without redundancy, without a tech on site, which you haven't factored into your RFP, what if something goes wrong? You only have one chance at a live event. It's got to go flawlessly. You only have one chance at life. You've got to change your life or it changes you. I said to Dr. Georgiati, you've, for the first time, told me what I needed to hear. My choices were change, or change was going to be disruptive and maybe permanent. I started working out. I started eating differently. I still play with the chocolate. I still make chocolate. I just don't eat the chocolate. I've learned that my vision is that I want to be able to control my life, albeit the government keeps getting in the way and employees keep getting in the way and all kinds of other things keep getting in the way. But to my best ability, I'm in control of what I do and how I do it.